Red Nation, are we here?
The best show for Chicago sports.
Oh my God! Yeah. What's good? Yeah, what is good, everybody? It is your boy, Pat the Designer, back at it again. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us as always, man. We are here for another week of daily sports talk on the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Live. Topics on the channel today, man. Got to break down where the Bears rank among second-year QB teams. Are they low? Are they last? Are they the worst? Are they the best? We're going to get into all that and more. Also, got to talk a little bit about Velus Jones, man. Rookie minicamp underway here. Got to see, is drafting an older rookie a little bit of a benefit to the Chicago Bears? And then I feel vindicated on MVP talk. Everybody here needs to understand that the NBA MVP voting needs to change. We'll get into all that and more on the other side. We appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us. As always, man, hit that like button, subscribe to the page, because we do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. It's the only channel talking Chicago sports, how Chicago talk. So make sure that you get in tune with us, man. How y'all feeling today, man? How are y'all feeling today? Appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us. As always, man, hit that like button, subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. It's the only channel talking Chicago sports, how Chicago talk. So make sure that you get in tune with us, man. Make sure that y'all...
Push the button. Come on. Push the button. Come on, push the button. Yeah, come on, push the button.
Hit that like button, man. We appreciate all the love. How y'all feeling today, man? Chicago summertime shy is on the way. The sunshine coming in through the window. I feel good. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Shout out to the chat, man. We got Baki in here, ID in here. Who else? Marcus in here, man. We appreciate y'all. Shay in here, our Io Dosumo jersey winner. John in the chat. Steve-O's in the building. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us, man, for another episode of the show, man. We appreciate all that love. There's so much, bro, going on over here that So in my household right now, both my wife and little mama seem to have contracted COVID. We're dealing with that. So now I'm running around playing doctor, lawyer, housemaid, cleaning up, running the show, recording videos, all that stuff, man. So if I seem a little bit off, it's because I just made coffee 2 minutes ago and I wasn't able to run up there and get none. But how y'all feeling today, man? How y'all feeling today? I feel like it's a good day. There's a lot to get into on the show today, and so we're going to get into all of that. By the way, make sure that you guys are following us over on Twitter, man. Make sure that you guys hit me up on Twitter. Follow us at the WC Breeze and also at Pat the Designer. And hit us up over there as well, man. Shout out to y'all, man, for the prayers to the fam, man. Appreciate that. Question on the table. And this came in over in the Discord. So shout out to everybody over on the Discord side of things, man. Everybody that shows love over on that side, man, and has joined the Discord. Joining the Discord is free, by the way. So if y'all want to join up in the Discord, man, I'll drop the link in the chat at some point in the show. I'm running a lot of things right now, but I will drop the link in the chat so that you'll be able to join up over on the Discord side of things as well. But they did a ranking of where they feel the best and worst situations for the Chicago Bears is right now. The best, or for second-year quarterbacks, I should say, is right now. They did a ranking on where they feel like the best situations for guys like Justin Fields, Zach Wilson. You know what I'm saying? And listen, a lot of Bears fans feel like it's just big brain media picking on us, right? Why are they going at us? Why are they picking at us? But let's break it down. Let's talk about it, right? Like, is the Bears a good situation for a second-year QB right now? Is the Bears the best situation for a second-year QB? You can't say it's the best, right? You can't say in good faith that you feel like the Bears are in the best position to do something positive for Justin Fields. You just can't. Like, let's be real. But when I see people say that we're the worst situation for a second-year QB, and I'm trying to find the tweet here. I had that mug pulled up. But for you to say that we're the worst situation for a second-year QB, right? Like, that's a little tough. Because you also got to look at all the other situations around the NFL. You've also got to look at how Trey Lance is going right now, right? And the tough part about that is Trey legitimately might not get a shot to play. Because nobody's in on the Jimmy G thing. I would put Trevor Lawrence's situation right now on par with Justin Fields' situation. The only difference is that the Jaguars had money to throw at the wall. Ryan Pace did not leave us in a situation where the Bears had money to throw at the wall. And so Poles comes in here. He's in a tough situation. He has to figure everything out quickly, right? And because he was such a much later hire, it's going to take him a little bit more time on top of that. To not only get guys in here, attack free agency, get ready for the draft, which I think he did an excellent job at. And let me see here. Here's the tweet here. And we'll pull this up just so everybody can see kind of what we're talking about here. Per PFF Sam, ranked the best situations for second-year QBs. Zach Wilson, number 1. Interesting. I don't know how that's the best situation. I don't know how that turns into the best situation. Trey Lance, number 2. Trey Lance in this whole thing is the one person that might not get the opportunity. Number 3, Mac Jones. Mac Jones is on a team that literally has already done this before. How's he in the third best situation? He's on a team that literally has already done this before. How's he on the third best situation? A team for Trevor Lawrence. I would put Trevor and Justin on par with each other. Why? Neither of them know what's happening coming in. Both of them are in completely new situations. Both of them are in a completely new dynamic. 5, Davis Mills, which is a joke in itself because there's nothing going on Houston that anybody would want to deal with, minus Lovie Smith maybe. And then 6 is Justin Fields. But when I look at things like that, right, I'm looking at them and I'm saying, okay, are the Bears at the bottom? Are the Bears a team that I don't know if I want to have my second-year quarterback figuring that out? And I can say yes. Why? Because of how Ryan Poles is doing it. If Ryan Poles was doing things differently, I would feel different about it. If he was focusing on the weapons, if he was focusing on getting guys here for Justin just to throw the ball to, I would say, hey, look, it doesn't matter how much he drops back and gets the ball to these guys if he can't get the ball to these guys because he's on his back. But Ryan Poles came in prioritizing the offensive line and depth at that position, realizing that Tevin Jenkins is here, but I might not get an opportunity to put this guy in a position to be successful. I need something else. Let's go out and get a couple of tackles. Let's get some backups. Let's get, you know what I'm saying? That to me is key in the development of Justin Fields. I've seen very, very mediocre quarterbacks play well behind very good offensive lines. And I don't think that Justin Fields is a mediocre quarterback. You have to get your line good. That's what it comes down to. It's not new. It's not different. But because we saw the wide out weapon go crazy last year, if you don't have weapons now, you can't play well. How are you going to develop a young quarterback without weapons? By giving him time to realize and process what's happening on the field in front of him. That's why I feel like I would say if I was going to put it in a position, right? We're talking about 1 through 6, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence, Davis Mills, Justin Fields. I would say Mac Jones is 1. I would put Zach Wilson right now 2, right? Because I feel like Zach Wilson has a couple of pieces that can be nice weapons. Not to say Zach Wilson's going to take advantage of that situation, but he's got a couple of pieces that can be nice weapons. He's got a decent offensive. He's got a pretty good offensive line, actually, that can stand in front of him and keep him alive. But he's got to take advantage of his opportunities in this situation. 3, I'll go Trevor Lawrence right now just because they have a better situation and more money to spend, and they spent it this season. You know what I'm saying? It's all about what you do with your capital. The fact that they came out, and no discredit to them, that's what you're supposed to do around your second-year QB. That's what you're supposed to do around your second-year QB, right? They went out. They spent money. They did what they had to for him. And how did that work in his favor? We'll see. These guys still got to take advantage of that, right? That's the one thing people don't play into account. We could be going into this season talking about, oh, he's got to do this. He needs to be this. He has to have that. It doesn't matter if they don't take advantage of the situation. To me, can the Chicago Bears take advantage of the situation that Justin Fields is in? That changes everything. That changes how we look at Justin Fields moving forward. That changes how we look at the season as a whole. Everything is fluid in the NFL until it isn't. Everything is fluid in the NFL until it isn't. I'd put Justin Fields 4 right now. To me, Justin Fields is 4. Because I feel like there's a lot of ifs on this team. There's no doubt about that. There's a ton of ifs on this team. If the offensive line plays better, if Justin Fields can get the ball to this guy, if the Chicago Bears can play pretty good defense, right? There's a lot of ifs on this team. There are. But by no means do I look at this as a situation where I say that the Chicago Bears are the worst situation for Justin Fields or for a second-year QB in this sense of it, right? Because it's all about how it plays out. It's all about how it develops. It's all about how Justin attack. Because here's the thing, right? If Justin in a competent system plays well, if Justin in a competent system can play well, how quickly does this turn around? How quickly does this get moving in the right direction, right? That's the NFL. That's how it goes. You think after year one of Peyton Manning, the Colts were going into the next season saying, ooh, we really got one here, boys. We got this whole thing figured out. Oh, they didn't know what the heck he was. It's fluid. You got to figure it out sometimes. How do you get to that point? That's all you need to know. Hey, how do we get here? How do we get to the point where we feel good about what Justin Fields brings to the table? How do we get to the point we feel like Justin Fields is at the point where he's protected now? And the tough part about it is, right, you might have to pay him before you feel good about that point. That's where the question marks come in. But by no means, right, I feel like people are in this mindset of you've got to win a Super Bowl in his rookie contract for you to feel good about where he's going to be paying him. That's not the case. Joe Burrow is the anomaly. Joe Burrow is the odd man out in this topic. That's not the norm. Russell Wilson, not the norm. We just saw Josh Allen get paid. He ain't won a Super Bowl. So why are we putting this pressure on our young players to have to be the best of the best before we decide to offer them a check? I'm going to tell you this right now. If Justin Fields proves he's at Jay Cutler's level, he's going to get the bag. Unfortunately, because you're behind the eight ball, you're in a situation where you're probably going to pay Justin Fields before you know if he's really, really that dude. Before you know if he's the Super Bowl caliber quarterback. I don't think he's going to be bad. It would surprise me. I would be thoroughly surprised. Mark it here, whatever the date is right today. May 9th, 2022, 11/18. I would be thoroughly surprised if Justin Fields is bad at football. Even if the Bears go down a similar path, right? I would be surprised if Justin Fields is bad at football. I'll continue to say this. Expect an astronomical jump from the Chicago Bears this season offensively. 17 points is historically bad. Historically bad. It's almost unheard of. It's unheard of in Bears history. That's what I mean by historically bad. Like, you have to go back quite a few teams before you get to that point. Like, understand, the Chicago Bears scored 16 touchdowns last season. They scored less touchdowns than there are weeks in the season. They gave up 31. Understand where we are. It's going to be a jump. It's going to be a ridiculous jump. And that's okay. But you have to also kind of like keep the mindset right. Like that's the hard part that I tell everybody. Make sure that you're keeping your mindset focused on the right things. There's no way we score 16 touchdowns again. I can already tell they're going to run the ball more. We'll probably see 16 touchdowns from our running backs. Like, that's mind-blowing, dog. When you look at how bad Matt Nagy was, you're going to see a jump. And so to say that it's the worst situation for a second-year QB, I can't get on board with that. I can't get on board with that. And I do find, and I know everybody's kind of like, oh, you brought in the defensive coach. Why would you bring in a defensive guy? Who cares what side of the ball he is? Is he a good head coach? He's not calling plays. Everybody always does, though. You're bringing in a defensive-minded head coach. You know when that matters to me? If he's calling plays. Because if he's calling plays, that means that he's more so in the meeting rooms focusing on what the defense is doing than he is on the offense. Lovie Smith called plays. Guess where Lovie was? Lovie was with his boys on defense. That's why they loved him. Matt was in there with the quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? That's why these guys, like, they pick a side. Coach Flus said, I'm coming in here to be the head coach. Y'all call y'all defense. Y'all call y'all offense. I'm overseeing everything. We're going to put people in here who are in a position to do things well. That's how you evaluate this situation. And I think it's going to change. It's going to be mad fluid. But I will say this, right? And here's a question to the chat. Shout out to the chat for pulling up and rocking with us today, man. Everybody that's in here, man, hit that like button, subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. It's the only channel talking Chicago sports, how Chicago talks. So make sure that you get in tune with us, man. Appreciate all that love, man. If y'all could do me a favor and just
Push the button. Come on. Push the button. Come on, push the button. Yeah, come on, push the button.
So here's the question for you. We heard the rookies talk this weekend. And the question came up about Velus Jones. Do you feel like being an older rookie is an asset to you? And literally the thing that we've heard from Luke Getsy, a lot of the coaches that have been in the building on the offensive side has talked about how Velus Jones has come in. He's a student of the game. He's ready to work. He's trying to figure this out. Is Velus Jones being an older rookie an asset? He's coming in 25 years old. He's absolutely not coming in very young. Is Velus Jones being an older rookie a good thing for the Chicago Bears in year one? And shout out to Soul Search coming in with the hate early. I feel like it can be. I feel like it can be. And here's why. We see a lot of these guys come in younger, raw talent, trying to figure it out as they go, trying to adjust to the league. Not to say Velus won't deal with some of those same things. But Velus coming in at 25 years old, guess what? I know one thing for sure. He's coming in about his business because he doesn't know if he's going to be in the NFL for a long time. He's coming in with experience on his side and probably a more in-depth understanding of his position. And this is honestly how you used to see guys come into the NFL. There weren't a lot of guys that didn't stay 4 years at college before coming into the league back in the day. When you see guys come in pro ready and they're able to make an immediate impact, it's usually a lot of guys that stay a little bit longer at college. And you might see an increase in that. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see a change in that. Now, Velus much older, right? He's 25. But you might see an increase in that. You might even see a change in that, right? Because of what? Everybody took a year off for COVID. Everybody took a little bit of time off for COVID. There's a ton of players that waited one more year so that they could show what they have so they can move up in the draft. Guess what? They're going to be older. They might not be 25, but you talk about 23, 24. Youth is great if it can help you right now. But when you start getting into second and third and fourth rounds, don't be surprised if moving forward, you start to see some of those guys that stay a long time in college. Why? Because they're able to contribute right away. And being able to contribute right away in the NFL is more important than being able to contribute 4 or 5 years down the line to these teams. And I'll tell you why on top of that, because there's a lot of opportunity, right? If you're in a situation where you feel like, hey, we can win, we're close, but we need something that's going to happen sooner than later. Velus Jones being 25, being able to make an impact right away, coming in with a grown man's body. Not to say that I still feel like it was a high pick. I feel like you could have gotten better value there, or if you traded back, you could have gotten more and still gotten Velus Jones, but maybe somebody was moving up for him. But NFL lifespans are 3 to 4 years. I believe the league average is 3.5 years. If the league average is 3.5 years and I draft somebody that's out of here in 3.5 years because they weren't able to catch on quick enough, what's that mean? What's that matter? Right? Hey, guess what? Kevin White was young. Never played it down, really. Didn't play much. But Kevin White was young. Anthony Miller was young. Javon Wims, young. I'm not saying that Velus Jones is going to come in and all of a sudden he's going to set the world on fire. I'm not saying that Velus Jones is going to come in and all of a sudden he's going to be this dominant force for the Chicago Bears. But what I am saying is you do have to look at how the experience and the time that he spent and the fact that he's already coming in, not having to put on muscle, but being a grown man, having that grown man body can affect him and can put you in a good situation. Y'all let me know in the comments, man. Is Velus Jones being older a good thing for the Chicago Bears? I think that it can be. I don't think that it's something that just, oh, he's failed. That's a failed project. Because guess what? We need to see if Justin Fields can play Maybe not all the way this season, but by a minimum next season. We need to see if Justin Fields is the talent that we think he is at a minimum by next season when we're able to go out and spend some money. There's still a lot of things that's predicated on, but I'll tell you this right now. Like, I'd rather have a guy that can come in and make that immediate impact than, hey, we'll see. Would I rather have Velus be 22 and all of a sudden we're going to be, hey, by the time he's 25, Justin's going to have it together. They're going to have this rapport. They're going to be ready to go. They're going to make, yeah, I would. But they made a defense. They went with best talent available on their board. They felt the best talent available on their board was on the defensive side of things. We may not agree, but hey, it's also not our job. They felt like the best talent available was on the defensive side of things over the wide receivers that were on the board. So guess what? Hey, we're going to keep it pushing. We're going to find a way to get Justin some help now. While also putting Justin in a position where the help that he has now can develop with him. He's 25, not 45. Those are two different things. And here's the thing. The proven commodities that were 25 weren't proven. They were decent pieces. But say you get somebody that is on the level of, I don't know, who's some of the wideouts that went. Say Velus Jones is on the level of a great value Tyreek Hill at 25. You see how much the haul that Tyreek just went for. You see what he just turned into, right? We see where he was set up. We see how a 25, 28, whatever it is, year old wide receiver can draw that kind of, but we just got one in the draft that possibly could turn into something of that. Luke Getsy says whenever the ball gets in his hands, he's a danger to score. And you don't have to do nearly as much to put the ball in his hands. Is it a gamble? Absolutely. You took him at 71. It's a third-round pick. You could have gotten better value there. I do not come off of that point. I feel like Velus Jones would have been there for the Chicago Bears if the Chicago Bears had moved back. But let's be 100% honest here. If Velus Jones can play, who cares? He'll be 29 by the time his rookie deal is up. Yeah, and you know what? If he can play at 29, guess what? We'll pay him till 33. And by then, hopefully, you've also recouped some of your draft capital and you're winning enough that you can also just go out and say, hey, what do we need this year? Oh, we need to find a wide receiver. Okay, we've got some room for that. I respect Ryan Poles for making it work with what's there. I respect Ryan Poles for making it work with what's there. Ryan Pace left nothing. We had peanut butter, no jam. Kool-Aid, no sugar. He left us with cereal and just enough milk to just wet it, but not enough to actually make it float. So it's one of those things to me that I don't care if he's 25 if he can play. And the thing that we don't think about is if this works, if going out and getting older players turns into players that come in with instant talent, guess what the NFL is going to start doing again? Youth matters. Being able to play right away matters more. Youth absolutely matters. Having youth on your team, not being the old, that matters. But having players that can play on your team right away matters even more. And if you don't have those players that can play, it doesn't matter. Guess what? I love how young Anthony Miller was going out and be able to catch the ball and get the job done. He couldn't play. He couldn't stand the field. Javon Wims right now is like 27 years old. Is he on a team? You know what I'm saying? There's a give and take to everything. And to me, the fact that Velus Jones is an older rookie can be an asset for the Chicago Bears because I know he understands his position through it all the way in and out. And that's most sports, right? Think of the Bulls. When the Bulls went and got older rookies, what'd they do? Came in right away, great production. When you go get those really young players, you have to wait for them to figure out what the heck's going on, not only in the game, but also with their body as it continues to develop and get stronger. And not only just with their body, but also with their mentality so that they can be like, hey, I got to go from being a kid that's just having fun and excited to be getting paid to play the game that I love to no, this is my job. I do this for a living. I do this every single day. I have to look at this and focus in on only this. The next 2 years in the NFL are going to change a lot around this league. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Because you're going to see older players coming out because they wasted or they took a year to go back to college because of COVID. And teams around the NFL are going to look around and they're going to look at these older players and be like, yeah, he's older, but I mean, he can play. And they're not going to care. Now, it's still on Velus to take that opportunity, right? It's still on Velus to take that shot, but do I feel like his age is a detractor or it's a good thing? I would say it's more of a good thing than it is a bad thing. If his age becomes a bad thing, you know what that means? He turned into a pretty freaking good player. And now we're upset because he's 25 or he's 29 years old and we got to pay our 29-year-old player who's only been in the league 4 years instead of having to play our 25-year-old player who's only been in the league 4 years. I can live with that. Hey, man, we got to get into a little bit of this NBA MVP talk as well. I appreciate the love, man. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. It's the only channel talking Chicago sports, how Chicago talks. So make sure that you get in tune with us. I do appreciate y'all for pulling up and showing love, man. I'm just trying to survive the vid in the house right now, man. We got mad vid in the house right now. Wife's got it. Daughter's got it. So I decided to come down here with y'all, man. We in a safe space right now. I have yet to catch it, but the odds are against me. Calvin says Dan Orlovsky has so much love for the Bears. Not Dan Orlovsky. I'm not gonna lie. Dan Orlovsky is an interesting. He's so interesting, dog. Because I feel like it's us with Detroit, but that's him. I feel like Dan Orlovsky is us with Detroit, but like it's him on the flip side. Like him with Chicago, because he was a Detroit QB. Appreciate y'all for the love, man. Baki did say he tweeted me something about Dan Orlovsky. Hold on, before we get up off of the Bears all the way. Let's see what Dan had to say, because I'm sure it's something dumb. Former NFL quarterback, according to Daniel Greenberg. Let's pull this mug up, man. Let's share the screen out here. We doing big things on the show, man, making it look real professional. I'll react to this live here. Former NFL QB Dan Orlovsky said on ESPN that his expectation for the Chicago Bears QB Justin Fields for this season is low and that he's in the worst position out of all the second-year quarterbacks. Orlovsky said the Bears' offense is a bottom 5 unit in the league. Again, Dan, listen, I understand why you would say that. I understand why he would say that. I can't say, listen, I understand why people say that around the league right now. But dog, you're telling me you don't expect an improvement out of an offense that was literally ran by the biggest joke in the league? You don't expect an improvement out of an offense that literally was ran by one of the worst head coaches in NFL history for the Chicago Bears, who was an offensive guru. Come on, dog. An offensive guru. Never had a offense above 29, I believe. Mr. Offensive Guru. But I'm not even tripping on the fact that he said what bothers me about this is people don't look at the situation that was here last year and say that systems can improve. And it bothers me because he played in the NFL in probably an awful system that probably derailed his career. And again, I showed y'all the quarterbacks in second year situation. What does Davis Mills have going for him? What is Davis Mills gonna do that's gonna all of a sudden put the Houston Texans in this great offensive position? Right? Again, this is Dan Orlovsky being the Detroit quarterback that he was and not liking the Chicago Bears. I respect the rivalry, but it's not a good take. And guess what? He realized that if he tweeted something about the Bears fans would respond. And so now he's got to continue to talk about the Bears so that he can continue to be in these relevant positions, because this is what gets his name circulating around the net. It's not a coincidence to me that Dan Orlovsky on a Friday and a Monday is talking about the Bears. When has Dan Orlovsky talked about the Bears? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not surprised by this in the slightest. I'm not surprised that they're trying to take shots at the Chicago Bears and Dan Orlovsky's at the beginning of it because, hey, guess what? That's what the rivalry is. That's okay. He started his career with the Lions. Guess what? They train you to hate the Bears. That's okay. But to say that Justin Fields is in the worst position out of all the second-year QBs, that's just a bad take. Again, Trey Lance, is Trey going to play? Trey's in a position where he doesn't know if he's the starting QB yet. You know, we kind of had this conversation, but it's interesting to me when you look at it because You're seeing people on the national scale look at it very differently. I could see the Jets. I'll give them Zach Wilson. I could see the Jets having success if Zach Wilson takes a step, because I feel like there are pieces there in place that make him put him in a better position. But we know what this is. What gets Dan Orlovsky blowing up on Twitter? That's what this is to me. How do I get my name circulating through these Twitter streets again? I'll say something about the Bears. It's random. It's random to me. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But let's keep it pushing, man. Appreciate the love. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with the show. As always, man, hit that like button, subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. It's the only channel talking Chicago sports, how Chicago talk. So make sure that you get in tune with us, man. We gotta talk a little bit around this league, though. Around not the NFL. Let's switch gears to a little NBA. Nikola Jokic has won his second MVP. Back to back. Not to say that Jokic by any means is a bad player. Not to say Jokic by any means does not have a case for the MVP. He's absolutely got a case. But the numbers wouldn't say he does. I would say, in my opinion, what we saw in the second half of the season from Joel Embiid at a time where he had to become the number one because James Harden is essentially a number 3 at this point, wouldn't say he is. In the regular season, Jokic 28, 7. 7 is crazy. And 13. 28, 13 rebounds, or 27.1, I'm sorry. 13.8 rebounds, 7.9 assists. Let's give him 8. Crazy. But Joel Embiid this season was nothing to scoff at, especially at the end of the season. Joel Embiid, 30 points, 11.7 rebounds on 49% shooting and 4.2 assists. That second half of the season, to me, solidified a lot for Joel Embiid. I felt like that was 37% from the three-point line as well. I felt like that was kind of closing it out. And at a minimum, right? No Giannis love? $29.9, 11 rebounds, 5.8 assists, upped his game, upped his handle, up his passing. $55% from the field. Got a case. And I feel like probably got the best case out of all. But again, can we say or is it time for the NBA to change how it does its voting? I've said this on many occasions. Is it time to change how the NBA does its voting for its awards? We've had controversy with every single award in here. Martin said, quit crying, dude. Hey, Martin, go watch another show. This ain't crying. This is making a case. Because when we look at it, again, should John Moran have won the Most Improved Player award? I think he's got a case based on the criteria that I would follow. But there is no set criteria. It's how a bunch of dudes that write in a newspaper, who most of them never played, feel that year. It's not based on did Joel Embiid have the best season. Joel Embiid was the clear-cut MVP until what? Till he brought James Harden to his team. Then all of a sudden, opinions slowly started to change around Joel Embiid, right? James Harden showed up on the team. All of a sudden, opinions slowly started to change around Joel Embiid. People weren't looking at Embiid as, oh, he's the clear-cut MVP, he's this, he's that. But because opinions changed halfway through the season, not how Joel Embiid was playing, his play elevated. Right? Giannis's play elevated. Went in the right direction. Elevated, to me, above what Jokic was doing at that point in the season. Not to take anything away from Jokic, but it shouldn't be the player that plays the best, that's in the worst situation right now, should win the MVP. The MVP should go to the best player around the league. You have to find a way to make it a formula. All of these awards. All of these awards. I'll give y'all a better one. The NBA scoring title doesn't go to the person that scores the most points. How does that make sense? Take it away from Jokic winning MVP, all that. Like, listen, shout out to Jokic. He got it. I love him as a player. He's got a case for MVP. I'm not like overly upset that Jokic is the back-to-back MVP. I'm really not. I think that Giannis had a better case. I think that Embiid had a better case, but Jokic also has a case. Jokic is a monster on the court. I'm not upset with him getting back-to-back MVPs here. But how the NBA goes about picking it, it's literally just writers. Most dudes that haven't played the game. What about you watching Michael Jordan and having an opinion on him means you get to pick who the NBA MVP is? It makes no sense. Again, I'll go back to this one. Just different awards. This is how all the awards are picked. The scoring title doesn't go to the person that scored the most points in the NBA. How does that make sense? It's one of those things. I mean, honestly, Trae Young, right? Now, he didn't average the most per game, but Trae Young scored 21,055 points. He should win the scoring title. He scored the most points. You know, it was 2, DeMar DeRozan. No, it was 3, Embiid. We're picking these things based on opinion, not based on the production people put on the floor. And the only difference there really is that it's not a ton of difference between Embiid and Trae Young. But the difference there is, hey, Trae played more games and was able to score more points. That's who should get the scoring title. It's one of those things where, like, there should be clear-cut set guidelines on who gets what. There should be clear-cut set guidelines on who gets what. And the NBA just doesn't have them. Every year, the criteria for MVP changes. Every year, the criteria for most improved player changes. Scoring title, at least, is the most consistent when they kind of go off of points per game. But, I mean, what's the difference between 30.6 and 30.3? An eighth of a shot? How do you quantify an eighth of a shot? Yeah, I meant 2,100. Did I say 21,000? 2,100. We have this same debate every year, and maybe that's all it is, right? Maybe they're just putting these topics out there so that we can come in here and we can be upset that somebody didn't get the MVP that we felt should have get the MVP, and that the players can create conversation. But I mean, honestly, come up with something where things are set in place. Consistent. Not based on opinion, based on fact, based on what we see on the court. Come up with some kind of metric. There's a million Harvard kids out there. I don't know about a million, but there's a lot of people that are much smarter than me that can come up with a little equation. You got an equation for everything else. How do you come up with true shooting percentage? I don't know. Who came up with that? What's his shooting percentage? No. What's his true shooting percentage? What? It's what he shot. No. There's better numbers to find out what his real shooting percentage. What? There's favoritism in place, and I don't like that. Whatever's the best story. There was a point in time. Here's the thing. There was a point in time where DeMar DeRozan legitimately could have won the MVP. And what did I say? He might win it because it's the best story. But there was absolutely a point in time where DeMar DeRozan legitimately could have won the NBA MVP. And people were really talking about him as an MVP candidate. But even as Bulls fans, we could watch what the other guys around the NBA were doing and saying, hey, listen, I love DeMar. But is he the MVP this year? So I don't know, man. I feel like the NBA misses the target on that a lot. I feel like they rob guys of awards that they absolutely rightfully should have won. I think in this case, there's more of a case for it for Jokic, right? There is a case for Jokic. I don't think it's the best case, but there is a case for Jokic. This is one of the more close MVP races that we've seen, and that's why there is controversy there. But you know when there wouldn't be controversy? If everybody coming into the season knew, hey, if I average this and I score this and I rebound this, I will win NBA MVP. And the only reason Muggs will never do that is because then you could have guys who, like, you also have to take winning into account. I'm sure there's some equation you could come up with that, where you're taking winning into account as well. You know what I'm saying? If you score this much, but your team keeps getting their head kicked in, you're not going to be the NBA MVP. That's just how that works. I don't know, man. Hey, I do got a question for y'all, though, on the other side of this. Because we're seeing younger guys win the MVP more consistently. Does anybody in the NBA right now have a chance to break Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's MVP record? We'll get into that and more on the other side of this thing. But first, I got to tell y'all about Blue Chew. Oh, yeah. We got the music vibing now. Uh-oh. Hey-oh. What's good, man? It's time to dig yourself out of that winter hibernation. Spring is here, and it's time to get sprung with Blue Chew. That's right. This episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. Guys, confidence can take you far in life. It also can help you in the bedroom, especially when it comes time to step up to the plate. That's where Blue Chew comes in. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in chewable tablets and at a fraction of the cost. You can take it anytime, day or night, so that you can be prepared whenever the situation arises. You know what I'm saying, fellas? Here's the thing. The process is simple. You go to BlueChew.com to sign up, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. Best part? It's all done online. No doctor's visits, no awkward conversation, no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew tablets are made right here in the US of A, and so guess what? They're prepared to ship direct to your door in a discreet package. So if you can benefit from a little bit of extra confidence when it's time to perform, Blue Chew can help. And we got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use the promo code Windy City at checkout. Just pay $5 in shipping. That's BlueChew.com. Promo code Windy City to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for being a sponsor of the show. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us as always. Like I said, make sure that y'all hit that like button and subscribe to the page, man. We do appreciate all the love that you guys show to the channel. I know it's must to come in here every day, man, and look forward to us Monday through Friday. There's some days that we've missed, and they be like, man, what's going on with that? So if y'all are in here right now, man, just go ahead and
Push the button. Come on. Push the button. Come on, push the button. Yeah, come on, push the button.
67 people in here, 43 likes, man. Let's get that thing up to 60 plus likes, man. We do appreciate all that love. Also, we drop content throughout the day, man. We're going to be dropping content on the backside of this. We're trying to drop a video every day. We've said at 5 o'clock. I'm going to start saying around 5 o'clock, but our goal is to drop it at 5 o'clock, but sometimes life don't permit it. I will update y'all if it won't be at 5 o'clock, but every day we try to drop a video at 5 p.m. So tune in with us on that. We're going to have some good content coming to you from that side as well. Here's the question to the chat. We have two back-to-back MVPs right now that are both young. Giannis won it 2 years in a row. And then Jokic has won it 2 years in a row. Giannis right now is 27 years old. Nikola Jokic right now is 27 years old. You would think that they've both got time where they could, in theory, win a few more MVPs. Will anybody ever break the record that is currently held by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of 6 MVPs? And it's an interesting, I thought about it today. And my initial answer is no, not because they don't have the talent to do it, but because of the conversation we just had. I don't think that people will vote for somebody to win that amount of MVPs because they want Jabbar's record to stand the test of time. But right now, in my opinion, we could be talking about Giannis as a 3-time MVP winner, and he's 27. I don't think that his name will drop off the map in the MVP race anytime soon. If Giannis is able to play at a similar level like LeBron has, I don't know if he will, but if he's able to play at a similar level like LeBron has, he's got 10 years left. If he's not, he's probably got 6? Could Giannis win 4 MVPs in the next 6 years? And it's like somebody said, what did he say? D said, no, never. That's a good comment too. We have too much talent and there's more talent coming. Oh no, All Day said, the main problem is voter fatigue. That's it right there. I feel like there's enough separation in talent where somebody should. I feel like there's enough separation in talent where somebody could. But I don't believe anybody will ever vote for somebody to win that many MVPs again. Mainly because there are some records that people feel like you can't have. There are some records that people look in the past and say, no, you can't break that. That's Kareem's record. I watched Kareem when I was growing up. I watched Kareem live. You can't have Kareem's record. I won't let you. And there are people who absolutely have gone on record and said things like this about the voting. And that's I don't like that. I don't like that it can't be touched. I feel like Giannis could be halfway there. Or in all honesty, maybe not just because of what Embiid did this season, but I feel like those are records where records are meant to be broken. And if you're good enough to break them, allow them to be broken. You know why I say that Wayne Gretzky is probably the real, out of every sport, the real GOAT? Because Wayne Gretzky played at a time where hockey was tougher for you, and he still has records that the Chicago or that the NHL can't touch. He still has records that the NHL can't come close to touching. That's why, to me, Wayne Gretzky will always be the GOAT. But you're telling me that Giannis can't get the opportunity to break these it's like what Ruben say? Once you went over 2, you fall off the MVP list. That's a fact. Brian could have won the MVP how many times? What's he got? 3? Brian has 3, right? He could have won the MVP almost every season. Jordan could have won the MVP almost every season. Magic, and when he was in the NBA, at least there was Bird on the other side. You know what I'm saying? But it's okay for some of these records to be broken. And the people that are making the decisions on that don't feel that way. And to me, that's a clear-cut bias, right? That's not what sports is about. The reason that I don't view figure skating and gymnastics and stuff like that as a sport is not because they're not athletic. It's because if somebody doesn't want you to win that day, guess what? You're not going to win. If somebody feels like you don't have a shot at, you're not going to get it. Or they just like somebody else more personally. That's the part of the game that kind of irks me, as you can tell. That's the part of the game that, to me, I look at and I say that's a failed part of our game, because I feel like Giannis is the kind of player that absolutely could break Jabbar's record, but he won't. And I don't think that anyone ever will, because of those same things, because of those same ideals. Now, here's the thing, right? I can't say anyone ever. Maybe when we get a little bit farther away, when we get like past, not to say like, I mean, I guess, yeah, technically to say like when they die off, when the dinosaurs die off, that are just so stuck to these ideals of the previous NBA, you might see a change in that situation. But it's going to be tough. It's definitely going to be it's definitely going to be like, you'd have to have somebody come in. I think the thing with Giannis too is he didn't come in on fire. He didn't come in where he was the best player right away, right? Like Giannis probably, if he had maybe caught fire a little, what did Giannis catch fire? Really, year 3, year 4 started like, you were like, oh, this is that dude kind of. If he had that right away, he might even have a better case for it then. And I think, right, here's the thing. If he was at 3 already, he would have a case for it to me, because then the storyline starts to play into it. Then you get the 3. Now this isn't just the Windy City Breeze talking about it. Now this is a national TV show talking about it, to where now the storyline plays into it. Well, we national, we global. We ain't even just national. We got people all over the world in here. But now it's not just us. It's the mainstream big head, big wigs talking about, hey, can he get close to catching fire? I'm reading his comment. Can he get close to I'm reading BJ comment, said Giannis caught fire after Jabari Parker got hurt. Facts. Can he get close to winning 5 MVPs, right? If he had 3 already, I'd give him a better shot at it. But I don't think Embiid's body is going to hold up long enough for him to have that opportunity. I think there's going to be too much of an overlap for some of the guys that are young that could do it right now, right? Like Moran, I expect to win a couple of MVPs at some point in his career. But I think by the time he gets to that point where people are talking about him as an MVP, which they were this season, but like a legitimate MVP all year, you'll probably be talking about him being around what Giannis's age is now. So I don't think that you'll see him have a great opportunity to get to 6. Like that's a long 6 MVPs is a lot. 6 MVPs is a lot. All Day says, to play devil's advocate, there are a lot of people who have recency bias. One could say the talent is actually stretched too far compared to what you saw in the old days. That's true. There is that, right? Like all of a sudden, Russell Westbrook's a bad basketball player. You know what I'm saying? Like there is that. Like now Russ is the worst player to ever touch a basketball. Like no matter what you see this season is what dictates how you feel going into next season. For a lot of people, I force myself to not be that way. I legitimately do, because I look at Russ this season, I'm like, it might have fallen off. But then it's like, why? Why did this happen? Like I do that with most players in the NBA. I'd probably do that with every player in the NBA. Because when people have a down season, I'm like, why did they have a down season? What's the reason around it? Nikola Vucevic had a down season this year. Why? Well, there was a 6'3" shooting guard standing next to him playing power forward, and so there was a lot of back screens that he didn't get. Why did he have a bad season offensively? Oh, well, he's got that he's the third option in an offense now, and they're asking him to be a spot-up three-point shooter. That's not something he really does. Oh, okay. Like, I force myself to see, like, why did this happen? Recency bias is definitely a thing, though. We saw that. Dog, it's so bad, it's within weeks for some of C-Red Nation out here. Let's be real. It's within weeks of some of C-Red Nation. You have a good stretch. Kobe White's the greatest player of all time. Kobe finished the season. Now he's out of here. Like, wait a minute. Listen, I'm definitely not on greatest player of all time. I'm probably closer to he's out of here. But let's actually look at the season. D's got a good one. Only person I give a chance for 6 MVPs is Luka. Luka is young enough to me, but he's got to start winning them now, right? I think for you to get to that point, you have to start winning them at a point where you have 3 or 4 by the time you're 26 and the storyline comes into play. Storyline's everything. DeMar DeRozan could have won MVP this year if he kept up what he was doing. And he broke a Wilt record. Storyline means everything. Let's see here. Luka is how old? I know he's stupid young. 23. Luka is 23 years old. Luka would have to win 3 of the next 4 seasons MVPs for him to be in that conversation. That's going to be tough. That's going to be tough for him. And I think that like you have to be at a point where, hey, I'm winning enough that I've created an entire storyline around this. And he's in Dallas. Say what you want about him, but like Dallas is probably getting the least watched out of most of the people in the play. Well, I can't say that. They playing the champions. I can't say that they're getting the least watch. But I definitely feel like Dallas is kind of like the fact that they came back. Like people are focusing in more on them again. That game 3 to me was kind of like, yeah, that's over. And then when they won, it was like, wait a minute now, let's get back into this. Hold on now. Let's have a conversation around this now. Appreciate all the love, man. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think anybody will ever break Kareem's record because I think people are gonna stand in the way of it. And that's a problem, clearly. Hey, question for y'all. Again, what the heck is going on with these NBA fans? I don't know if y'all saw this story over the weekend as Chris Paul had fouled out of the game, who he's been playing awfully in this series, hasn't he? He's just been down bad. But ends up sitting, I think at this point he was fouled out of the game and has to deal with fans putting their hands on his mom and wife. What is wrong with y'all? Why can't we just go to the game and watch the game and enjoy the game? I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. Like, if I'm a fan, and here's the video. Here's Chris Paul's response to it here. Let me see. I gotta make sure the site unmuted. All right, we good. Here's Chris Paul's response to it here after they're removing the fan. Like, at that point, what are y'all doing? Like, I'm gonna be real with you. And here was his response on Twitter as well. He says, "Want to find players for saying stuff to the fans, but the fans can put their hands on our families. F that." I mean, listen. These are people. These are husbands. These are sons. I'm gonna be real with you. Maybe I'm just Captain Save a Chick or something like that. But like, if I'm the opposite team's fan, I'm gonna be sitting right there and I'm gonna be like, bruh, relax. Y'all gotta chill. Like, has COVID turned us into legitimately we just don't know how to act around people no more? Like, what are you doing? For me, I absolutely would have been in that mug and I'd have been like, hey, my boy, you got one more time to mess with them, or me and you gonna have a problem. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just how I was raised, right? You don't let people just do anything they want to do. You don't just let, I don't know. But I absolutely would have had to stand up and say something. Like, I'm not even okay. I don't even know. He looked like a kid. He looked like he's like 17, 18, something like that, 16, 17. And I don't know, was that his girl, his mom with him? If that's his mom, or if that's his girl, he's into the older ones. He said Happy Mother's Day for real. But here's my problem with you. Nobody else around y'all saying nothing. Y'all just letting this happen? Why? Because they're opposing teams' fans? Because they're the opposing team's fans. Oh, we just letting that. What are y'all doing sitting around in Dallas? I got a problem with everybody in that section. Now, I was trying to find a video, right, to see what it was. If it was egregious, if it was like him actually, because it said pushing and shoving, all of that, right? And apparently it was bad enough that Chris Paul felt like he had to say something to Buddy. Say, I'll see you later. But was it like, y'all losing? You know what I'm saying? Like, I was looking for that video to see what it was. But if it's to the point where Chris Paul feels like, hey, we might have to, I might have to handle something. Like, that's a whole different situation. These players' families should feel safe enough to come sit courtside of the game. I'm not even like the kid. All right, I get it. Not really. You shouldn't be hitting over. I guess I don't get it. But ain't nobody else in that section saying nothing? Ain't nobody else in that section got no commentary? You not telling Buddy to chill out and sit down? Bro, I've gone to Brewers games as a kid, being a Sox fan, cheering for the Brewers and having Cubs fans get into me and Brewers fans looking around and being like, hey, yo, leave the kid alone or me and you gonna have to talk about something. I can't rock with that, bro. I can't vibe with that. It's not in my blood. It's not how I was raised. It's not. And first off, learn to keep your hands to yourself. What are y'all touching for? What are y'all pushing on people for? And what are you pushing on women for? You cluck? Goofy mug, man. Mugs like that get on my nerves, bro. Appreciate your opportunity. I just had to talk about that, man. As far as the game goes, man, Dallas really making it interesting. As far as the game itself goes, Dallas doing a good job of making it interesting, man. I like how they came out and played. They came out and were the aggressor. Chris Paul had no answers. On top of everything else that's happening on the sideline, has no answers. Chris Paul struggling all of a sudden versus that Dallas defense. Here's the thing, right? 2 uncharacteristic games for Chris Paul back to back. Stephen A talked about it on the broadcast as well. It was the game before was the first time Chris Paul had ever had 7 turnovers in a game or in a playoff game. It might have been in a game, to be honest with you, but it was the first time that he'd ever had 7 turnovers in a playoff game. And then the next game, it was the first time he'd ever gone into the half without having double digits in a playoff game. Five points, 2 for 4, 1 for 1 from the 3-point line. He had just as many points as he had fouls. Oh, my bad. He actually had 1 less point than he did fouls because Chris Paul ends up fouling out. That's crazy. I was sitting there surprised by what we were seeing, and I'm gonna be real with you. This has kind of been the Suns in this playoffs, right? When you wanted big name guys to step up, they really didn't step up. Now, there's some games, right, where like Devin Booker goes crazy, Chris Paul goes crazy, the tandem of 2. But like I think about, there's been multiple games in this series, not this series alone, but in this playoffs, where we've said, hey, like somebody else needs to step up, and they just haven't. And let's keep it a Billy Buck Bean. That somebody's been DeAndre Ayton more times than not. In this game, you saw Chris Paul absolutely come out and struggle. But not for nothing, champ. 14 and 11 out of DeAndre Ayton in 32 minutes ain't exactly a ball-out night. Devin Booker gave you 35. This is supposed to be a little 3-headed monster action, right? You're kind of starting to see, and you don't want to say like that's who he is, that's what he's going to be, but you're kind of starting to see a little bit why Phoenix is like, bro, we're not giving you that check like that. We're not going to give you that bag. Why would we give you that bag? You're starting to see it a little bit more and more, and I think that it's a tough thing to say, right? When you see somebody of his talent and his caliber, and I do feel like he's a really good big man in this NBA, but hey, bud, you got to step up. You got to become that second option. There's not enough time for you to just, hey, we're going to figure this out. It's 2-2 again. It's an even playing field. I credit Dallas for what they did, man. Jalen Brunson starting to get it going. Dorian Finney-Smith cooking a little bit in these last couple of games too. And you needed somebody who you felt like was going to step up in a big moment and give you that big game. In the last two games, 14 and 4, game before in 41 minutes, we're playing some really good defense. Had 3 steals in that game. And then in last night's game, 24 and 8. He had another steal on top of that, 8 for 12 from the 3-point line. Now, granted, it took Dallas shooting and a historic level at the 3-point line for you to come away with a 10-point dub, right? And you're heading back to Phoenix. I still got Phoenix taking this series, but there's got to be some pieces that step up. And I feel like we've seen pieces kind of shy away in this moment and kind of struggle. You saw Chris Paul struggle in this last game. 5, 5, and 7 ain't it. But DeAndre Ayton, I mean, he's been the epitome of up and down. He's been the epitome of it. Game 1 versus Dallas, 25 and 8. Game 2, 9 and 3. Game 3, 16 and 11. Game 4, 14 and 11. But the problem I have is in game 4, you became the number 1 option early in that game. Or number 2 option, I should say, early in that game. When Chris Paul can't get it going, you got to step up in that moment. So that's gonna be an interesting dynamic to see, man. I mean, he's been up and down pretty much the entire playoffs. His averages are probably pretty good, but I mean, a 10-9 game versus the Pelicans, and that was the game where Devin Booker was out. You're gonna need to see more from him for sure. The other team that might be in a little bit of trouble. What is that? Excuse me. The other team that might be in a little bit of trouble. And prayers up to Ringo, man. Ringo going through it over there, man. R.I.P. to Ringo's uncle. Should be back tomorrow, so bless up to little bro on there, man. But his Miami Heat ain't looking too good since Joel Embiid came back in the building, my boy. It ain't looking like it's a game with Joel Embiid back in the building. I haven't felt like and I said this going into this, right? I said this when Embiid was on his way back, and I felt like Embiid wasn't going to be coming back because of the injury that he sustained. And when they were talking about he wasn't able to see the light, I was like, dog, like, does that mean on like the lowest brightness setting, he can't see the light? Like, what do you mean he can't watch the light right now? But I said early on in that, I don't feel like Miami's in a great position right now. Because we didn't see Harden in game 1 we didn't see you didn't see Harden either. You didn't see Embiid in game 1 and game 2, and guess what? Embiid still or the Miami Heat never dominated either of those games. I didn't feel like the 76ers were completely overmatched in either of those games. I was like, I think Miami gets this series because Embiid's probably not going to come back. Guess what? I was wrong. Joel Embiid's back in the building, and in 2 games, he's absolutely made a huge difference. In 2 games, Joel Embiid has turned this Philadelphia 76ers team into the struggling bunch that it was. To now, not only have they won those 2 games, but they won one of them by 20. And this last game, it felt like Philadelphia had control of this game the entire way. Game-changing players make game-changing plays, man. And Joel Embiid absolutely is a game-changing player. Jimmy Butler had 40 in this. He had 40. 43 and 6, 13 for 20. 12 for 13 from the free throw line, 2 for 6 from 3, 2 steals, 2 blocks. Doing everything that he can for you. Bam had 21 and 7. But Tyler Hero, not the same dude. 11 and 10. 10 rebounds was crazy from Tyler Hero, though. I saw that. I was cracking up. But 4 for 12, 1 for 5 from the 3-point line, making them very 3-point dependent. You haven't seen them drive inside that paint the same way they were. You haven't seen them attack down low the same way that they were. And I'll give Harden credit, man. I've been killing Harden a lot. Harden finally showed up in the game. 31, 7, and 9. That's the Harden that, hey, I'm supposed to be paying for if I'm Philly. Joel Embiid, 24 and 11. Having those second options matter. And it's a lot easier to beat up on the little brother. Guess what? When his big brother ain't there. Big brother's back in the building. Miami's in trouble, y'all. I could see this going 6, and I could see Miami not getting another game. I could see this going 6 and see Miami not get another game. Because in this game, Miami gave you just about all they could. It just wasn't enough. Now, I get it. Like, Duncan Robinson really wasn't able to get it, or not Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero really wasn't able to get it going. Do you feel like not playing Duncan Robinson at this point is a mistake? Like, getting no tick. When's the last time we saw Duncan Robinson on the floor? Was it that big game he had versus Atlanta? Is that the last time we saw Duncan Robinson play? Where he was like 8 for 9 from the 3-point line or something like that? Is no Duncan Robinson a mistake? When you see Tyler Hero playing bad, or I feel like I don't know, dog. Ringo's always talking about Strus. Oh, we got Strus in there. Strus is the better option. Strus is the is he? Is that 6, 4, and 3 the better option for you? Is that the move? I don't know. I'm asking. Because I feel like when you've got Hero off and you're getting nothing going offensively versus a team that's killing you down low. I'd like to see somebody in there that's at least a threat to give a little offense. I'm not saying you set him out there on the Kobe White plan where no matter what he's able to get that mug going, but I do feel like at a minimum you could have gave him a little bit of opportunity. It's going to be interesting to see how these game 3s play out, man. You know, no Ja Morant tonight as well. I thought that was interesting. Do y'all feel like that was a dirty play by Jordan Poole? Ja Morant tweets out after the game, after we saw Steve Kerr drop he broke the code on Dylan Brooks. We saw Ja Morant tweet out, in quotations, broke the code. Do you feel like that was a dirty play from Jordan Poole? And I appreciate everybody for tuning in and rocking with us, man. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page. And there's two separate things there, right? Something can be a dirty play, and I cannot feel like he's a dirty player. I do feel like, especially when you've got all your momentum going the other way, you could make the argument that the knee grab, pulling it out, could go down as dirty. But I'm not calling Jordan Poole a dirty player. And I think that's kind of where this series has become. To me, that's what this series has turned into. I think Draymond pulling Buddy down, little extra. Dylan Brooks running through Gary Payton Jr., little extra. I think Poole a little extra. But you can't set the standard for this series and all of a sudden feel like this isn't what was going to happen. Y'all set the standard on this. No, you can't go back in the middle of it. Draymond did what he did. I felt like, I don't know if I'd call that a dirty play. I'd say it wasn't a basketball play when Draymond does what he does. And on the flip side of that, I feel like you retaliated, and so now guess what? This is the pace you've set for the series. This is what comes with it. And yes, sometimes the main player does get hurt. Ja Morant won't be there for game 3 of this, or I'm sorry, game 4 of this series. And that's big for them. Now, you do still have to look at the fact that they won quite a few games without Ja. I believe they went 20-6 without Ja this season. They won quite a bit without Ja Morant out there. I don't put them out of it, but they are down, right? There's going to be, I believe, there was just a 1-game suspension, so they should be getting Brooks back. And this team understands a dynamic of playing well together without Ja on the court. But as I said, this Memphis team reminds me of a team that, hey, we're at this level where, like the Denver Nuggets were, right? The Denver Nuggets, when they were just all really, really good players, really good role players, a collection of great role players. But when you add that sprinkling of superstar on top of it, it changes the game. When you add that sprinkling of superstar on top of it, it changes how everything's played. Ja Morant, to me, is a superstar level player. And so for me, right, I look at it and I say, look, I still think they can win, but it's absolutely a completely uphill battle. And the hill is mad steep. You're going up against Dre, Clay, Steph, Poole. You got enough guys. We've seen in the series, right? The guy that's kind of sparked all of the offense on this side has been Ja Morant, because they've been able to get down. Ja's been able to get downhill, kick it out to the corner, make a play that way. You know what I'm saying? Those things make a difference. Having his aggressiveness, having him being able to penetrate the paint, those things make a big difference for the Memphis Grizzlies. And when you see them lose that dynamic of it, even if they are used to playing with it, right? They've gotten used to playing with Ja back in the building. Are you going to be able to just all of a sudden flip that switch back to, oh, we know what this is, we're ready to go? That's going to be interesting to see for me. It's going to be interesting to see. I think that's going to be a fun series to watch. even if Ja isn't able to be 100%, I know Ja's going to try and come back. But even if he's not 100% coming back, I think there's going to be a really fun series to watch. I think there's going to be mad entertaining, man. I really do. Hey, we appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking the show. We at 12:45. We got about 15 minutes left in the show, man. Appreciate y'all showing so much love as always, man. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. It's the only channel talking Chicago sports, how Chicago talks. So make sure that you get in tune with us, man.
Push the button. Come on. Push the button. Come on, push the button. Yeah, come on, push the button.
Some little bitty news that kind of came down the pipeline. I don't think it's anything major. Shout out to Baki for sending it to us, though. Baki, the Black Adam Schefter, always watching out for us. The Chicago Bears have signed DB Jonathan Alexander to a 3-year deal. Alexander participated in this past week's rookie minicamp on a tryout basis, so we'll have to look at him. I don't really can't say I know a ton about him. We'll check that out. I don't think that's crazy news at all by any means of the imagination. I'm not even gonna pretend like. Let me see here. Jonathan Alexander for the Charlotte 49ers. In 2021 had 2 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, pretty good. Adding some depth there. 32 solo tackles, 25 assisted tackles, 57 total tackles. Pretty good there. Yeah, I'm saying. Hopefully he's able to play. 3 years seems like, I mean, I would assume if you gave him a 3-year deal, he's able to play. I don't know how much the money is. I don't know how much how much he's able to get paid. I mean, they essentially gave him a rookie contract, though. Like, it's not, oh my God, I can't believe this guy got him. But I mean, he had to be impressive for them to give him a deal. And they got him on a 3-year deal instead of the normal rookie 4 years. So we'll see what that is as well. I'll probably check out some tape on him. Like I said, we're gonna have a video dropping at 5 today. So make sure you get in tune with that. I'm saying this so that I myself get my butt up and record this video. No, we're actually gonna do a little breakdown. I want to do a little breakdown of some of the rookies we got coming in as well. Still dropping some of the content on that, and then also just any news that comes out throughout the day. We'll be talking about that as well. Before we get out of here, though, I do want to talk a little bit about these White Sox that have actually made a little bit of a resurgence. Got to give my team some love. Sox have now won 6 straight and have absolutely come back from the hole that they were in after sweeping the Boston Red Sox this series. And now all of a sudden they're sitting second in the AL Central. They're 14-13. You get Yohan Moncada and Joe Kelly back. Unfortunately, it's kind of a flip-flop. We got Bummer going to the IL. We got Berger going to Charlotte. But we do have Yohan and Joe Kelly coming back. Has this team found its groove? Has this team gotten to the point where they found their path to success? And it's been a lot of the bullpen, right? It's been a lot of the bullpen. It's been a lot of, hey, like, there was such a, I'm not going to lie to you, I have been so critical of the Sox getting rid of Craig Kimbrell, keeping Liam Hendricks, who was getting rocked at the beginning of the season, also getting rocked last season. Like, it's not like it's new. I was so critical of that because you had a pitcher in the building that was a Hall of Fame level pitcher who will make the Hall of Fame for what he's done in the major leagues, who in the 9th inning was absolutely a dog. who had an ERA of 0 in the 9th inning. Like, I was really critical of that move. And I've been critical of some of the moves that Tony and Rick have made. I think that, to me, that's the worst one, right? Because you got rid of Nicky Two Strikes and Nick Madrigal, and you also just basically were like, hey, we're gonna get this in here and try and make a run for it. And if we're not able to make a run, we're not able to make a run. You weren't able to make a run, and then you flipped them for nothing. So I've been very critical of that. And then Liam coming in was getting rocked. But the resurgence of Liam Hendricks, who, by the way, Tony has been using expeditiously, if we want to bring T.I. into this, right? Is crazy to me. And I'm glad that he's playing better now. I hope that it's something that can continue. We saw him playing well in stretches for the Sox last season, but it also didn't pan out for you in the playoffs. But the Sox still dealing with a ton of injury woes. But I think that the big thing that you got to look at is, right, like Kopech starting to get it together, pitching very well in this stretch here. Still hasn't gone more than 4 innings, I don't think, and you can see that it kind of pissed them off in the last one, but still hasn't gone more than 4 innings. But the come of the run of Dylan Cease has been a beautiful thing to see. Has been a beautiful thing to see. He has been a dominant player for the Sox in this stretch. He has absolutely been killing mugs at the plate, absolutely throwing targets out here. As Ringo likes to call them, dots. By the way, Baki, I heard about the Madden match between you and Ringo, bro. We'll talk about that tomorrow. But I feel like now that they're finding the groove in the pitching staff, now you see this team kind of starting to come together. Also, you got to give credit to the fact that the defense has been better, and you hope that getting Yoan back just continues to add to that. The Sox had some atrocious defense in that slump of losses that they had. They've kind of started to settle down a little bit. Unfortunately, you still don't have Eloy out there, but Luis Roberts has been a beautiful guy to see out there, man. He's been killing the game. Jose Abreu kind of slowly starting to get himself back into it. His OBP has been decent, but that you want to see him doing a little bit more, but he's normally a second half of the season guy. And I'm excited to see that they're turning it around at the right time. There's a certain time for everything to happen, and if you're able to turn it around at the right time going into this final or coming out of this final stretch of the losing streak that we were going through and how we were slumping so bad. It's good to see them run off this streak of wins. Now, how do you keep that going? Health is going to be a big part of it. It's going to be a huge part of it. If they can stay healthy, they can do a lot, but that's been the biggest question marks for the White Sox for 2 years. I don't know what the heck's going on up there, but they can't stay healthy to save their lives. We're swapping guys in left and right. Now, again, credit to the depth of the Chicago White Sox that they have guys that they can swap in. Injuries do happen, but we talked about this last season, right? And there is a concern in my heart going into this season. We talked about this last season, like, yeah, when they get healthy, they'll be there. When they get healthy, they'll be there. They never got healthy. In fact, they had injuries all the way until the last game where there were new injuries piling up. So that is still a concern for me right now as we get ready to go. And you hope to see it. And listen, the Sox are they took advantage of a couple of bad baseball teams, right? Like, I don't know if I'll say bad, but slumping at a minimum, right? We won the 2 games versus the Cubs. We won the series, we split the series, I should say, versus the Angels 2-2. And then we swept the Red Sox. You got the Guardians coming in here. The Guardians going to play a little bit better than the Red Sox did. But now it gets serious, dog. You got the Yankees coming into town over 7 of your next 10, I believe. We got them 4. We got a 5-game set with the Royals where we're going to Kansas City for 5, which what the heck is a 5-game set? I don't think I've seen. Like, I get you're swapping in a couple of double headers there, but what the heck is a 5-game set? What is that? But we got a 5-game set over there versus the Royals. And then we got 3 more against the Yankees, and then you got the Red Sox and the Cubs again. But I want to see how you do against those Yankees. I want to see how you do against the Guardians, because we've seen that the Sox can beat the teams that are down. How do they do against the teams that are on the rise? That's going to be the biggest thing to see coming into the season. I feel like that's going to be the part where we're looking at this team and we're going to know who these guys really are. Right now, 14-13, like I said, sitting second in the AL Central after beating up on a bad Cubs team, by the way. Do want to get into, is it time to trade Wilson Contreras? We'll probably talk about that a little bit tomorrow. We got some of our resident Cubs fans back on the show. Hey, I appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love, man. If y'all haven't done so, hit that like button, subscribe to the page. We got a lot more content coming for y'all. Expect another full week of sports talk. We'll be live every day, Monday through Friday, 11 to 1. Appreciate y'all for showing all the love that you do. Prayers up to Ringo. Shout out to y'all, man. Shout out to him and his family, man. They just lost their Ringo's uncle. So Ringo, whenever you're ready to come back, bro, you know your seats. We miss you here in the Breeze family, and so we are excited to have you back when you get here, man. And just prayers up to everybody over there. Also, you know what I'm saying? I'll be up in this mug, basically doing nothing. It's nice outside Chicago. I'm gonna be out back. We're gonna be barbecuing. Yeah, I'm saying a little barbecue. I'm having a family barbecue. I appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love, man. Hey, yo, as always, man, it's your boy, Pat the Designer, back at it again to continue watching our Chicago sports content. Click the links in the description below or just check out the channel, man. We got a lot of stuff coming your way. Hey, yo, as always, man, y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Peace.